What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Young and Intelligent Money Investing channel. And the other day, I had somebody ask me what an ETF even is. I have a lot of videos on this channel really praising ETFs, and I wanted to make sure I had a specific video tailored to explaining what an ETF actually is and which ones are my favorite. So let's get into this. Before I do, guys, I want to ask you to please drop a like and comment on this video. It really helps out the channel, and I really appreciate it coming from you guys, so please do that for me. All right, so let's get into this. So an ETF, essentially, like SPI, VO, all these are ETFs here. Essentially what it is a fund that invests in an index. So more specifically, like SPY invests in the S&P 500. So those are the 500 largest U.S. companies. So it invests in the money that's put into SPY. When you buy in a share, it puts that money into a fund, and that fund automatically invests a certain amount into each S&P 500 company. So when you buy SPY, you have a little piece of every single company in the S&P 500. So you're going to have a higher weight of the bigger S&P 500 companies and then a lower weight of the smaller ones. So when the bigger companies do well, it's going to help a little bit more just because of the larger market cap. And when the smaller companies do well, it still helps, but it doesn't help just as much. So that is kind of what like an S&P 500 ETF is. Let's go into a couple other ones that I have here and ones I recommend. So another one like SPHD. So this one, you guys know I love this one. It's got good monthly dividends. So this one invests in the 50 least volatile names of the top 75 highest dividend payers in the S&P 500. So in this case, I have a little piece of the 50 least volatile of the highest dividend yielding securities in the S&P 500. That's what SPHD is. And doing these, it really gives you benefits of high diversity in your portfolio, especially when you're a new investor. So when you're a new investor, you want to make sure you have exposure to each sector, and that way you aren't stuck with just one. Maybe you're only in tech because you think tech's going to blow up, and while that's going to provide you pretty good returns in the long run, we could have a big tech crash because of how high these tech stock prices are now. And if you're just in tech, you're just getting into tech, you're going to get absolutely smoked by a crash in tech. So you want to make sure you have exposure to other markets. That way, maybe healthcare is doing well. Maybe the finance industries are doing well. Maybe the banks are doing well. It could be so many different things. And if you only have exposure to one, that really doesn't leave you much leeway to kind of survive a big downturn, and that really could put you in trouble in your portfolio. And as you can see, some of these, like SPY, VOO, they are really outperforming a lot of the other stocks. You can see all this red is only in the stocks that are not ETFs. All my ETFs are up today, and that's largely because there's individual sectors. Like I have a high exposure to real estate, and hasn't been doing too hot lately. But luckily for me, I'm highly invested in ETFs. So VOO is going to bring me up, and even though SPHD has a high exposure to real estate, it can still survive that because it is also diversified in other companies like AT&T, Verizon, and other high dividend yielders. So that way, I don't have to suffer for a huge cycle just because one sector is doing bad. I would rather do a little bit bad than do really bad or really good. I'd rather have that be more consistent and a little bit safer because I don't want to have to be up awake at night worrying about my stock positions and if this thing's going to crash tomorrow or if one company is going to have a bad earnings report. Let's say a big company in the S&P 500 has a bad earnings report. Okay, the S&P might go down a little bit overall. Probably not very much because there's 499 other companies in there. So I really don't have any restless nights sitting and looking at my portfolio. I just don't have to worry that much about losing all my money or losing a big portion of my money because one individual stock that I own has a really bad day or maybe goes bankrupt or anything like that. That's never going to hurt me that badly. I might my highest exposure to a single stock is $198, and that's one share of Berkshire Hathaway. And Berkshire Hathaway in itself is diversified into so many different businesses that it's almost like owning an ETF by itself. So that's really what I think of ETFs and why I think they're so important for new investors and big investors alike. not that many people preach it on YouTube as much as they should. Everybody's just in, oh, stocks I'm buying in 2018, stocks I'm randomly speculating are going to go up, even though I only know about the basics of their company. A lot of this is about who guesses right the most, and I would rather just not have that worry, not have to be super concerned about it. And I think this is the easiest way for you guys to do it too. Worry about your income and then put it into these ETFs and let those slowly gain you money over time. That's what I'm going to keep preaching on this channel, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please drop me a like and a comment. I really appreciate them. Channel's been growing like crazy. We're over 225 subscribers now, and that is just so exciting to me. Hopefully we'll be at 250 relatively soon, and I'll see you guys in the next video.